So, someone suggested that for my next video post I should read aloud the scene from Jane Eyre when Rochester doesn't know that his bed is on fire. And I thought, that is the worst idea I have ever heard. So obviously, it must be done. Because everyone has always needed to see me hit myself in the face with a book in my I need to find which place I should start at for the most dramatic reading of the reading. This was a demoniac laugh, low, suppressed, and deep, uttered as it seemed at the very keyhole of my chamber door. The head of my bed was near the door, and I thought at first the goblin laughter stood at my bedside, or rather, crouched by my pillow, but I rose, looked round, and could see nothing, while, as I still gazed, the unnatural sound was reiterated, and I knew it came from behind the panels. My first impulse was to rise and fasten the bolt, my next again to cry out, "Who is there?" Something gurgled and moaned. Ere long, steps retreated up the gallery towards the third-story staircase. The door had lately been made to shut in that staircase. I heard it open and close, and all was still. Was that Grace Poole, and is she possessed with a devil? Thought I. Impossible now to remain longer by myself. I must go to Mrs. Fairfax. I hurried on my frock and a shawl. I withdrew the bolt and opened the door with a trembling hand. There was a candle burning just outside and on the matting in the gallery. I was surprised at this circumstance, but still more was I amazed to perceive that the air quite dim, as if filled with smoke, and while looking to the right hand and left to find whence these blue wreaths issued, I became further aware of a strong smell of burning. Something creaked. There was a door ajar, and that door was Mr. Rochester's, and the smoke rushed in a cloud from thence. I thought no more of Mrs. Fairfax. I thought no more of Grace Poole, or the laugh. In an instant I was within the chamber. Tongues of flame darted around the bed. The curtains... Okay, I'm sorry. Preemptive hysteria. Tongues of flame darted around the bed. The curtains were on fire. In the midst of blaze and vapor, Mr. Rochester lay stretched motionless in deep sleep. Honey, there's something very wrong with you. "Wake! Wake!" I cried. I shook him, but he only murmured and turned. The smoke had stupefied him. Not a moment could be lost. The very sheets were kindling. I rushed to his basin and ewer. Fortunately, one was wide and the other deep, and both were filled with water. I heaved them up, deluged the bed and its occupant, flew back to my own room, brought my own water jug, baptized the couch afresh, and by God's aid succeeded in extinguishing the flames which were devouring it. The hiss of the quenched element, the breakage of a pitcher which I flung from my hand when I had emptied it, and above all, the splash of the shower bath I had liberally bestowed, roused Mr. Rochester at last. Though it was now dark, I knew he was awake, because I heard him fulminating strange anathemas at finding himself lying in a pool of blood. Fulminating strange anathemas. "Is there a flood?" he cried. "No, sir," I answered, "but there has been a fire. Get up, do! You are quenched now. I will fetch you a candle." "In the name of all the elves in Christendom, is that Jane Eyre?" he demanded. "What have you done with me? Witch! Sorceress! Who is in the room beside you? Have you plotted to drown me?" "I will fetch you a candle, sir, and in heaven's name, get up. Somebody has plotted something. You cannot too soon find out what it is." "There, I am up now, but at your peril you fetch a candle yet. Wait 2 minutes until I get into some dry garments, if any dry there be. Yes, here's my dressing gown. Now run!" I did run. I brought the candle which still remained in the gallery. He took it from my hand, held it up, and surveyed the bed, all blackened and scorched, the sheets drenched, the carpet round swimming in water. And then he's like, "Oh, you were right. The bed was on fire. Huh. Okay." I don't even... And the saddest part is this would totally happen to me. Oh. Now, it's also interesting to note that it is not the fact that his bed was on fire that finally woke him up. He's lying in the midst of being on fire, and he finally wakes up because he's wet, and a pitcher broke, and the fire hissed when it went out, and he's kind of like, what is that noise? And he woke up and was like, baby, no, there's something very wrong with you. You need, I don't know what you need, but you need tea. Just drink your tea, honey. Just drink your tea.